Hi everyone. Um, Thank you for joining my session today. My name is Sébastien and I am helping organizations succeed their digital transformation with DevOps and continuous delivery. And today I will show you a case study about how a financial organization in Western Europe has changed its way of working and has implemented a modern software factory. So, first of all, a background about the landscape. So, it's an organization providing retail banking services in Western Europe, where we have something like 3 million clients, which is having something like 10,000 employees. And actually, a bank nowadays is present on multiple channels. It is present on the web, it is present on the mobile, but it is also present in brick and mortar shops. And actually, they have the ambition to embrace the digital revolution because fintechs is taking market share that banks are losing nowadays. So they need to be able to react as fast as fintech nowadays. The portfolio about the application that the organization has is something like 1,500 components. And those components are being assembled to form more or less 400 applications. Those components are present as well on the mainframe, but also in the distributed sector like WebSphere systems or mobile devices. We also have a release process which today releases 4 times major releases per year and up to 8 minor per year. So it is extremely slow and the customers cannot keep the pace with such kind of releases. For that, to improve the delivery of software application, we selected 3 tools from Computer Associates, CA. We selected Continuous Delivery Director, we selected Release Automation, and we selected Service Virtualization. The challenge. This is a picture of how the information system works today. The customer is using services, business services, like mobile banking, web banking, PC banking, and the branches which are the brick and mortar shops. Those services rely on business functionalities like the possibility to transfer money or to see the history of your financial transaction. Those business functionalities are in turn supported inside applications. And when I was talking about 400 applications, it is actually that layer there. Those 400 applications then rely on software components which can be shared for all the applications. And here I've highlighted some of the dependencies between all the components to form an application and to support business services. And as you can see, it is extremely complicated and interlaced, the set of components that are working together. We also have dependencies between components. We have the technical dependencies and also functional dependencies. And when we have to release that information system, we have to keep track about all that architecture and how an impact of a change on that component is having an impact on that layer and on that layer. So if now I select only in the tree of the application only the web banking service, nowadays developers are used to versionize that layer here. So they are used to versionize their technical components. Sometimes we see in organizations that they start to versionize their application level, but they never can versionize their business service layer. And the problematic is that it is extremely difficult to reconstitute a release because those dependencies are not tracked. And it is even more complicated because if we see the evolution in the time, we can add or remove components to form the business service. We can also add or remove functionalities, and so we need to track in a release management system how that works. So to proceed to that capability, we implemented a continuous delivery ecosystem, which is mainly composed of 3 parts. We have here a continuous integration platform, which is mainly based on Jenkins, which is a kind of de facto standard on the market. The goal of that continuous integration platform is to fetch the source code from all the applications and to build those applications inside an artifact repository. So concretely, we often have Git and Subversion here and Nexus over here. That, of course, is triggered continuously by developer. As soon as they change the source code, it can be rebuilt automatically. We also have, corresponding to this, a deployment automation engine. This is where release automation is positioned. The goal of the automation engine is to allow the application to be deployed in all the environment of the organization. We have to know that we have multiple environments, dev, test, QA, prod, but we must also have logical environment like QA-1, QA+1, which are depicting what the system will be put in production later on. Then we are having, on top of that, a layer which is integrating all the software toolchain together. And this is where we position the continuous delivery pipeline. And the goal of that continuous delivery pipeline is to assemble all the components together into an application and to deliver those components together as a complete set, a coherent set. It will then deploy, by calling the deployment automation engine, the set of components forming the application into a target environment. Therefore, in that continuous delivery pipeline, we want to have a promotion, because before going to QA, you need to ensure that you validate your system in test as well as in dev. Obviously, before going to production, you need a certain gating solution in place. Why it is important? It is important because businesses can decide to go in production with a release of an application which is not complete, which is good enough, or which is having certain risk. And so we need to have a strong gating because we are managing financial information in production. Then in that ecosystem, we link to an Agile board, which is either Jira or Agile Central. The Agile board is capturing all the requirements that the users will want the system to be built. And it is mainly the business users which are in charge of fulfilling those stories inside the system. We also have an architect whose goal is to define what an application is composed of. Mainly, an application can be composed of a backend, a front-end, and a set of components. And that definition has to be known inside the delivery pipeline so that we can assemble the component being built by the continuous integration platform inside a release. Then we have release management team, which are in charge of defining a calendar. Today, in those organizations, we are not fully continuous, we don't work fully in continuous delivery way. We don't go in production from development across the environment and to production by the developers. Actually, release management is in charge of ensuring that the quality of the system under development is being achieved. So, if we look now inside the continuous delivery CDD, we see here that I am releasing my application called CBNV, which is my core banking environment with a certain version number. And it contains the set of components which are forming that release. Basically, I am changing my integration layer, I am changing my front end, my presentation layer, and my backend. In this example here, the business functionality that the user wants to be delivered to the end user is actually the possibility to extend the history of the business transaction inside the web interface. And so we designed a pipeline in CDD composed of phases, dev, test, QA, and production, where we have a set of actions which will be executed. So as soon as a new build is being provided by the front end by the continuous integration engine, we will trigger automatically that phase of the pipeline. And that phase is designed, first of all, to have a task which will cross-check that we don't miss the name of that component inside any task. It's a possibility to implement in CDD, which is calling itself. Why we do that? To ensure the integrity of what we will deliver. Actually, we do not want to forget a component over here in one of the phases. Then we will deploy all those components inside the development environment and we will test them in parallel. And if that works, then we will move everything to test. So if we look now about what Jenkins is doing, Jenkins, the continuous integration platform, will first trigger a call to CDD to get the definition of what is the content of the release. When that will be executed, it will then start a build of all those components. So like you see here, Jenkins is calling CDD to fetch the name of all the components which have to be built. It will then build the components together and it will then call CDD to have a delivery of those components. So what we see here, we have Jenkins calling CDD, the notify call, and the prepare phase is what you see over here. The goal of the prepare is to fetch the list of all those components. Then CDD will trigger automatically the phase, development phase, and start deploying the components. Obviously, all those phases can be set to manual or automatic, but in a continuous delivery fashion, you want to promote the component automatically as far as possible, depending on the quality. Later on, the dev phase was successful, then the component will be moved together in test. It means that in test, we start to have a system which is called CBNV, composed of all those components, which are strong enough to be moved to QA environment. I was talking about dependencies. Dependencies are defined in CDD. So what you can do, for instance, here you see the icon about dependencies. You can express that a component is depending on another component. And because CDD has a dictionary of the exhaustive list of all the components of the organization, you can ask CDD to check if the depending component is deployed already in that phase. So for instance here, as I showed previously in the schema, we see that CBNV-NT was depending on that component version. Then components or application will be moved automatically to QA environment. And here we are implementing a kind of freeze of the QA environment. Why? Because organization works by accumulating all the components together inside a QA environment, and then we want to freeze to ensure that we do not disturb the QA environment.
Checking that if all the components are there or not. Why you are checking in test? You should have done that in the dev environment itself.
So you want that we check that the component in dev.
You mentioned that in test you are checking that all components are there or not, right?
Yes, actually
So
in
why you are doing that step in test? Why not validate that in dev environment itself and then it should be a smooth to move in dev?
so you ask the question about the check of the dependency of the component inside the dev environment. Why I don't do it in dev? Actually, I don't do it in dev because in dev I only want to check the validity of one component. I want to do a component test. And I don't want to communicate with external components. It is only in test that you need to start to integrate your system with other systems. And this is where you can put service virtualization in place, because you want to do a system test in test environment only. In dev environment, you just want to test a component. And it means that unit testing is done beforehand in Jenkins. So now that we unfreeze the QA environment, we start to deploy in QA, and you can also have an approval of the execution of the phase. That will allow the user to provide a go, no go to move to production later on. What is also interesting is that the tool is providing a list of tasks that the users have to execute. So here we want to have a manual acceptance test being executed by the business users. And so CDD will track that those actions are being executed by the users and will inform business users that they will have to execute those acceptance tests. As you can see, the next task is about transitioning the Jira issue. I will come to that later, but now one very important feature of CDD is the possibility to have an integrated reporting about which component is delivered in which environment. Like here, I see my 4 environments, dev, test, QA, and production, and I see that for my release of my business application in version 2.2 or 2.3, I have the build number 112 of the version 2.5 of my component. So the system tracks in its database all the components which exist in the information system, as well as all the versions, all the build numbers, and where they are deployed. Another important aspect is the possibility to request what are the versions of all the components in one's environment. Like, what do I have in QA now? What will I have in production? Also, when you attach content coming from a Jira or an Agile Central, which is basically a user story, you can request CDD to tell you if that functionality that has been requested by the user is deployed into which environment. So now we can reply to the business and say, look, your functionality that you request, which is extending the history to 200 days, is now deployed in dev, in test, QA, and in production, and in which version. I was talking about the task which is transitioning a Jira issue. This is basically what we do here. If we have the list of user stories that we have to deliver, we can program CDD to update automatically Jira or Agile Central so that business requirements can be tracked inside Jira or Agile Central, and we can progress automatically as soon as we move in dev, in test, or in production. Now we are faced with another level of aggregation of the components and the application, and for that we are using a release track. What is a release track? It is actually the combination of a set of release pipeline, the release pipeline for my core application, for my agenda application, for my accounting application, and we want to deliver those together as a coherent bundle to form my web banking application. For that, we combine those pipelines together, and we can check if each milestone has been reached in test, in QA, and then approve its move to production. And this is where release management comes in. If each release pipeline is successful up to QA, we can open the gate to promote to production the list of applications and click on approve, and each application will be automatically delivered in production. One aspect that I shown also was the release calendar. So we are using the release calendar functionality of CDD to provide an overview of what are we doing inside our release pipeline. What do we deliver when? So we don't need to track all those information in Excel sheets anymore. Another very interesting feature, if we start to improve our maturity in the continuous delivery pipeline, is the possibility to have CDD track the number of execution of each pipeline and each phases inside that pipeline. So you can see over here that we are rebuilding my application CBNV 150 times in development, 104 times in test, and we move in production only 1 time. So it proves that we are delivering very fast in development, and we are fixing in development as soon as possible, but only when development is good enough, we move the component into test and later on to QA. So there is a kind of automatic filter to ensure that we promote on the production environment only what is valid. So it means that in Jenkins, we will automate the unit testing. In development, we will start component testing. In test, we will do system test. And then in QA, we will do a test with other systems and do performance and acceptance tests. To facilitate that, the problematic in those organizations is the complexity of the information system. So here, for instance, we see that we are having 2 applications, system A and B. We are using an API, we are having an ASB, we are having a backend, a database, and a third-party application. And the problematic is that we have to deliver an upgrade in production of that system. Now, if we want to test in a QA environment that system, we can use service virtualization to mimic another system. So here, for instance, I am mimicking system B while I want to test system A. Also, I can stub the third parties applications like the Swift the Swift network, so that I can tune the availability and the performance of the third party. So today, when we need to test against a third party, we need to connect to a QA environment of those third parties, and we need to subscribe to that testing service. With service virtualization, we can start to virtualize that third party so that we can tune the availability, we can tune the performance of that third party. We can also change test data. Why? Especially in a financial environment, we are having financial data in production, but we need to provide test data inside test environment. And so by using SV, we can start to simulate test data or generate synthetic test data which represent what could be in production, but without having the same level of, respecting the level of privacy or anonymity of the end users. Another aspect is the possibility to provide the simulation of an external component by using contracts. So the contract will define how an API has to be implemented and which input and output has to be known or understood by each application. By using SV, we can define a contract which will be implemented as a virtual service, and that virtual service can then be given for developers so that we can ensure that they can build a component and test the component against that contract. The goal of all of these is to shift left the testing activities. In those organizations which are having a legacy information system, we test very late in the release cycle. We test in QA because this is where we are having data. This is where we are having all the system in place. This is where we are having the mainframe, for instance. The problematic is that we test very late, and fixing a bug in a QA environment is extremely expensive, and of course much more expensive in production. So by using SV, we can start to shift left test activities so that we can provide to the developers the possibility to interact with virtualized system, like a virtualized mainframe. So when the journey started, we implemented the tools. We started with the continuous integration platform in order to normalize the way we were building components together. Then we added release automation to normalize the way we deploy components into target environment. And therefore, we normalized Java component, we normalized ESB component, we normalized web-based component, and so on. But in an information system in production, we also have load balancers, we also have databases, and so on. And so if you want to smooth the delivery of your application, you need to onboard new technologies in order to automate them. So the story now is about onboarding new technologies like load balancer and databases to reduce all manual intervention when you deploy an application in production. It means that we will try to use configuration as code, infrastructure as code, as well as pipeline as code. So a functionality of CDD is to have the possibility to describe the release pipeline as a DSL object, so that CDD will automatically generate that pipeline when it is triggered. Another important point, if you remember my schema, we don't integrate yet with quality automation or quality check tools. This is becoming a real problematic nowadays because teams were focused on automating the deployment, automating the build, automating the release, but we were lacking the integration of the testing. Therefore, we are trying to implement now the continuous testing approach. It means that inside the release pipeline, we want to automate the testing with test data and test automation from whatever the tools are provided in those organizations. We also want to remove constraints by using server virtualization and use as much as possible a contract-based development so that we can ensure that those APIs, those contracts are respected, and we can test again against those contracts the component under development. And of course, with that, we want to be able to adjust, well, like I call that the scope and the cadence of the release processes. Actually, we want to move from a monolithic release, which is happening, like I said, 4 times per year, into smaller chunks of releases, so that we can start to go faster on what is being changed by the developers. That will allow to increase the velocity of the release of the delivery of the software application, and it will also allow to empower developers with the possibility to deliver in production their components by themselves. So it means that we are trying to build a common delivery process, which has to be predictable, which has to be scalable, transparent, and adjustable. It means that you want to be able to predict how it will behave. How long will it take to release my application in production? Is it scalable? It has to be working as well as for 10 components than as well as 1,000 components. It has to be transparent. It means that everybody in the software delivery of the organization has to know how it works, and it has to be adjustable, fine-tunable in order to allow the organization to respond to the business change as required. So our recommendation is obviously to start with the build of the software component. As soon as it is automated, we can start to normalize the way we will deliver those components together. It means that we will integrate with the code quality scans like Sonar, like Fortify, and we want to have a common documentation produced by the Jenkins part. We want to be able then to continue with the deployment. As soon as a component has been built in a normalized way, you can start to have deployment processes which are as normalized. So it means we can automate at a very high scale so that we can repeat continuously the delivery of those components. Then we need to be able to orchestrate the releases together. The orchestration is mainly based on a continuous delivery, CDD, which will allow to deliver the application in multiple environments, on multiple scopes, on multiple technologies, and on multiple tasks, so that we can repeat as much as possible the way we deliver those applications. When that is achieved, when we have those 3 capabilities, we can start to improve the continuous delivery way of working, so that we can then integrate with the release, the user stories level or the feature, the content. We can integrate with the quality control to start automatic testing. A very nice feature provided now in CDD next version would be the possibility to link test assets to releases, so that we can have in CDD an integrated view on the quality of an application under delivery. Then we will need to be able to fine-tune the balance between the control and autonomy. Previously, organizations were controlling a lot how we were delivering application. It was extremely waterfall, but in an agile world, you want to shift left the autonomy to the people, like the developer, designing the applications. Then, when that level will be achieved, we can treat everything as code. So it means that deployment instructions, pipelines, everything can be designed as code with DSL or JSON objects. It means you can start to versionize the way you are working also.